What is up, guys? So today we're going to start factoring polynomials. Now, the first thing you should know about factoring, just kind of a little bit of background, is when you multiply two or more numbers, like 2 times 3 equals 6, each number in the product is called a factor. So in this right here, 2 and 3 are both factors of 6. So one way to think about factoring, if you're a little bit confused by what factoring is it's essentially just undoing multiplication. And we can undo multiplication by using division, since division is just the opposite of multiplying. So for example, if we want to divide 3x from 6x cubed, what we can do is break up the coefficients into 6 and 3 and the variables into x cubed and x. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to divide these two coefficients and these two variables. So when we divide 6 by 3, we get 2. And when we divide x cubed by x, we get x squared. And this is because when you divide two variables with an exponent, like x cubed divided by x, what you're essentially doing is you're subtracting the exponent. So this x right here actually has an invisible 1 above it. So when we're dividing x cubed by x, we're actually just doing x to the power of 3 minus 1, which is x squared. That's why the answer is 2x squared. Now, one way we can write this is, since we divided 6x cubed by 3x, if we multiply 3x and 2x squared, we get the same thing that we started with, 6x cubed. And both of these, 3x and 2x squared, are called factors of 6x cubed. So this question is asking, if 4xy squared is a factor of 12 squared y to the power of 4, then what is the other factor? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly what the last example showed. We're going to divide 12x squared y to the power of 4 by 4xy squared. And another way we can write this is we can split up the coefficients and the different variables. So first we can write it as 12 multiplied by x squared multiplied by y to the power of 4 divided by 4 multiplied by x multiplied by y squared. And then we can break up each of these different kind of things into their own division statements so you can kind of visualize it easier. So we're going to have 12 divided by 4 multiplied by x squared divided by x and y to the power of 4 divided by y squared. Because when we're writing like 12 times x squared times y to the power of 4, there's actually invisible multiplication symbols in between all the different coefficients and variables. So I'm just kind of writing them out so you can see it easier. So firstly, 12 divided by 4 is going to be equal to 3. And x squared divided by x is equal to x to the power of 2 minus 1. Since this x has an invisible coefficient, a visible exponent of 1 above it. So we just subtract the exponent since we're dividing. That's just a rule you're going to have to memorize. And then we also have the y. So we have y to the power of 4 minus 2. And our final answer is 3 multiplied by x multiplied by y to the power of 2. And remember, this x has an invisible exponent of 1 above it, but we don't usually write that exponent out. So now we can jump into the next example. We're going to do, if 8xy is a factor of 16x squared y minus 24xy cubed plus 8xy squared, what is the other factor? So basically, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to go ahead and divide this expression right here by 8xy to find the other factor. Because then if we multiply that factor by 8xy, we should get 16 x squared y, and so on. We should get the same expression as we started with. So what we're going to do is we're just going to divide this by 8xy. So starting with 16x squared y divided by 8xy, we end up with 16 divided by 8, which is 2, x squared divided by x, which is x, and then y divided by y, which is actually equal to 1. So the y's just actually cancel each other out. Then we have negative 24xy cubed divided by 8xy. And the important thing to remember here is, instead of kind of breaking this up into terms, I'm just going to write out the negative sign in front of the 24. Because then we can just throw everything together at the end and we'll get the right answer. We're not going to mess up any positive or negative signs. So we have negative 24 divided by 8, which is equal to negative 3. Remember the negative sign. Then we have x divided by x, which is 1. So we just cancel them out. And then we have y cubed divided by y. And remember, this y has an invisible exponent of 1, so we get y squared, since 3 minus 1 is 2. Then the last step is going to be the last term, which is 8xy squared divided by 8xy. And we get 8 divided by 8, which is 1. Then we get x divided by x, which is 1. So we just cancel the x's out. And then y squared divided by y, which is 1. So usually we're actually just going to leave out the 1, and we can just write y as our final answer. So then our final answer to this question is going to be just all these terms grouped back together. So we have 2x minus 3y squared plus y. And that's just all of these terms grouped back together. So that's our final answer. Now let me reiterate, if we multiplied this expression by 8xy, we would end up with the original expression. So just hammer that into your brain. So the real challenge when factoring polynomials is usually when you're asked to factor something in its full forms, when you're asked to fully factor something essentially, you're actually not given one of the factors, which makes it kind of harder because you have to find the greatest common factor. So like in all the examples we just did, we actually were given one of the factors and we could easily find the other factor because all we had to do is divide the original expression by the factor. So what if you want to factor a polynomial expression, but you don't have one of the factors? Well, that's where the greatest common factor method comes in. So I want you to head over to my next video where I'm going to show you how to fully factor a polynomial expression without actually having one of the factors, and we're going to basically find what the greatest common factor is so that we can fully factor the expression. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.